Hey guys, what is up? So it's finally happened, the update we've all been waiting for. Overwatch 2 has finally nerfed some of their characters. For this video, we're going to discuss the uproar surrounding each of the characters, including Kiriko, Sojourn, Roadhog, and Orisa. And kind of what the future looks like for each of the characters and their gameplay. Maybe we'll even throw in a few other characters that have been in the limelight lately too. When Overwatch 2 first came out, there was a ton of really excited players that were hyped about the launch of the second game. Unfortunately, the game came with some characters that are just too OP and created some unnecessary challenges. So let's get right into it. Kiriko's nerf overall was underwhelming and unnecessary. After talking to most of the people I play with, they all agree. The delay in use of her weapon after teleportation really doesn't matter. We all wanted to see healing reduction, but instead we got stuck with an underwhelming delay in weapon use. But the community itself doesn't seem too excited about it. They stated on Reddit after some people asked, like, what do you think of Kiriko's nerfs? That sad Kiriko noises, which I feel and resonate with on a deep level. They also said that it's just too much. Like, it's just too big of a nerf for Kiriko. She didn't deserve it. As a support main, they're super upset about it. Kiriko's their main support, so it really sucks. Overall, really negative feelings. The community's not psyched and feel that it was totally unnecessary. Next, Sojourn was a hot topic for a long time. She was notoriously too powerful, specifically in her long range attacks. The feeling that I'm seeing across the board is people who play Sojourn are super bummed about her nerf. But honestly, I understand it. People that don't play Sojourn are freaking hyped and think it's one of the best decisions game makers have ever made. Players complain that she's way too powerful when Mercy would utilize her damage boost, so that nerf was really well received by players. One shot is now pretty much impossible, or at least harder for Sojourn to achieve, so that nerf was well received by players. And the spray pattern for her railgun has increased. No one really cared about that, but the players who are not super good, my boyfriend, they really felt it. Now, Roadhog came out of the gate like a real freaking tank. He was killing it in games and destroying everyone. So, naturally, he was nerfed. Unfortunately, the nerf has rendered him basically useless. Many of the players now feel like he's basically too weak to be an effective tank. Specifically, Roadhog's hook had a killer one-shot power that was just way too OP. After they nerfed it, they made it basically impossible to one-shot unless you hook the enemies in the head directly. Even then, it seems risky that the one-shot will occur because the space increase the game makers included is just not helpful. He is another one of those characters that people hate the nerf if they mained Roadhog, but if they played against him, they were super excited. People were pissed when they entered the game with Roadhog if they knew how to use their hook before the nerf. Now, people are at ease knowing that Roadhog users are basically the chumps of the game. Lastly, I have very little emotional connection to this character. Orisa needed the nerf, it's very true, everyone agrees. She is basically invincible when she used her javelin spin and fortify, and if you use them at the same time back to back, you were impossible to kill. Across the board, before the nerf, she was one of the most picked tanks, because if you had a good healer, shout out to Mercy, then you could not be killed. The undisputed good choice made by game makers. Alright, so now that we've discussed some of the nerfs that have already occurred, I just wanted to throw in some honorable mentions that should be nerfed, either in the community's opinion or in mine. First off, freaking Widowmaker. Everybody hates her unless they play her. She's too freaking powerful, and she's a long-range shooter that cannot be stopped. Now, in my biased opinion, as somebody who consistently plays Widowmaker, it is sad to admit, but the public is probably right. She's too OP and really should be nerfed. Okay, so now that we have all the homies out of the way, this is how the general public feels about who needs improvement still or kind of who doesn't, according to Reddit. Alright guys, that brings this video to a close, but please join me again for more buffs and nerfs in the Overwatch game, and if you want to see more of me and interact with me more, I am dropping my Twitch below, and it should be linked in the corner. It's Legacy Thrive anytime.